bugs happen. Maybe a scene refuses to load, a signal doesn't fire, or your game just crashes with no clear reason why. And of course, players will just say it's buggy and move on. That's why we're expanding our game engine support to include Godot, alongside our Unity and Unreal SDKs. Now you can get your crash reports, stack traces and runtime errors in one place, whether you're building in GDScript or in the future with C#. You can capture crashes, runtime errors and cross-platform issues with minimal performance impact. So you can catch issues early, fix them fast and keep your players in the game. Let's dive in and see what this looks like in practice. What we have prepared here is a little demo of our SDK guy going places. So up we go, and we've hit an error. Looks like I'm trying to celebrate victory a bit too early, trying to call a method that doesn't exist yet. And within the editor, that is easy to fix. I've got all the context that I could ask for right here. The editor is telling me right where stuff went wrong. But what if it happens to one of your players out in the wild? How would that same error look like in a release build? So if I launch the exported game and I retrace my steps, I go through the same error, but nothing happens. And this is what your player is experiencing. There's an error happening, but now you rely on them to tell you what they did and what went wrong. So let's see what the SDK can do for us. To get started, you will need two things. One, the actual SDK to add to your game to capture the errors, and two, a Sentry project that your game is associated with. To download the SDK, head over to GitHub, get Sentry Godot, and on the release section, you can download the latest and greatest version of the SDK at the bottom of the changelog. Once you've unzipped the download, you can see that the actual extension consists of a small sample project and the add-ons folder containing the actual SDK. To get started, drag and drop the add-ons folder into your project. That's it. Now to the second part. Head over to Sentry.io and let's create a brand new Godot project. New project, desktop, Godot, give it a nice name, hit create, and the install instructions that are getting shown right here are providing you with a DSN. This DSN is the key to letting the SDK know where it's supposed to send those error events. So let's copy that and head over to the editor. Inside the editor, project settings, and at the very bottom, we've got Sentry, options, DSN. This is where we paste the DSN we just copied. We can close the project settings and our setup is done. Now after exporting the game again, jump away, we're still running into the same error. Sorry, we can't fix it for you just yet. But let's head over to Sentry and see how the SDK reports this error to us. Now on the issues page, we get to see a stream of individual issues coming in. Opening up the details of one of those issues, we get to see what it was that the SDK was able to collect for us. We get to see how many times this event occurred, how many users were affected, and some information about the devices this was happening on. Of course, the SDK was able to capture the error itself, telling you exactly which line this happened on. In addition to that, it also grabbed a screenshot at the time of the error, so you know exactly what your player was looking at while things went wrong. This is getting followed up by breadcrumbs, capturing log messages, and ends up with tags and contexts that the SDK automatically fills for you that are fully customizable to the specific needs of your game. So this concludes our little demo. The SDK is quickly evolving work in progress and has much more to offer. If you want to learn more, check out Sentry.io, and if you want to get in touch, head over to Discord or GitHub. So long!